Okay, we've started the recording. Because we're going to have all the listeners muted, you're welcome to send any questions to us at info@projetech.com. We are also logged in to our Facebook and our Twitter accounts, and we have Stephen Scholl manning the portals there to answer any questions. We just ask that if you send questions or comments, you preface them with hashtag free Maximo Anywhere so that everyone can follow the conversation. Okay, first a little introduction about Maximo Anywhere. It was developed using the Worklight platform, IBM's Worklight platform. And what this does is help you extend your business to mobile devices. It's designed to provide an open and comprehensive platform to build and run and manage web or hybrid and native mobile apps. IBM Worklight can help you reduce both your app development and maintenance costs and improve the time to market. It also enhances mobile app governance and security. Currently, Anywhere only offers one bundle, and that's the Work Management bundle. This includes two applications. It's Work Approval and Execution. New bundles are coming, such as Inventory or Industry Solutions, and new functionality will be introduced at intervals. New functionality such as meters for your work management. One of the benefits of Maximo Anywhere is that there's no need to update your Maximo system to install the Anywhere updates. So why Worklight? Well, we kind of went over that in the previous slide, but just to reiterate, it minimizes the cost to rewrite per platform. So right now, Maximo Anywhere is only available for Android devices, but the time to rewrite the code to make it available for the Apple devices is minimized by using the Worklight application. And it can also be used for a standard mobile design across the products such as Tririga and Maximo. Okay, now for some of the benefits and features of the Maximo Anywhere product. Applications are designed and tailored to roles, and that's basically because just about everything in a business is based on roles. So most users only want to see the relevant information and the information that's usable for them. So for example, a supervisor may want to see costs, but the technician is really just interested in making life easier for him out in the field or out on the floor. So the layout is designed to simplify tasks with easy buttons to use and timers, and minimizes the amount of text that actually needs to be entered. So some of the current features in this phase 1 rollout of Maximo Anywhere include managing actuals, viewing plans, changing statuses of work, and you can change the status of the work order or tasks individually or independently of the work order. You can create new work orders on the fly with the Anywhere application, and you can also create a work log or edit a work log in your work order. Some more current features in phase 1. Well, I don't know if this is a feature, but currently it's only available for Android, and as I said before, phase 2 should have Apple devices. It should be available to work on your Apple devices. However, it does work connected and disconnected. So if you're going in and out of wireless connection, you'll still be able to work in your Anywhere application. It's able to use your smart device camera for barcode scanning. And you can utilize Esri maps to view locations of work and download directions. So if you're a utility and you might be out on the road and you need to find the location of a specific service address, the Anywhere uses the Esri maps to do that. So some of the planned features for the future releases As we said, support for Apple devices is coming soon. New bundles for inventory and industry solutions are on the roadmap. New enhancements to work management bundles such as meters and failure hierarchies. And then additional map applications other than Esri should be available in future releases. Okay, so enough about the platform. Let's take a look at the application. And I'm going to show some screenshots here, but later we're going to take a look at the application in an emulator. So of course, after you click the appropriate icon to log in, approval or execution, first you really need to look up data. So if you're prompted to look up data now when you start, go ahead and do it to get that out of the way. And then lookup data update runs in the background, and they'll be alerted when it's complete. And it's a good way to start your day. Refreshing the lookup data, such as work types, is only managed by this selection. There's a button on the menu for synchronizing data, and that's what transfers your data, such as updates to work orders, back and forth between Maximo and your device. Okay, so this is the work execution main screen. And when we open this application, we see several queries and icons. We can choose the query that we want to use. We can activate a barcode scanner, as we stated before. We can create a new work order, or we can see a parts list for the entire list of work orders on this list. We can also open the menu for several other options. And I just want to note that there's fewer icons the smaller the device. So this list just kind of goes through what we went over on the screenshot. It's just a review of the primary actions, and we'll see more in the emulator demonstration, but I included this for the recording if someone wanted to see it in the text. Okay, so a sample navigation from the main screen of work execution. We can run a saved query. We can review work orders. This is our list of work orders. We can tap the clock to start a timer. The time can also be entered manually if desired. And then there's chevrons on the screen to take you to more or less detail. So this one would take you to more detail, and then the one at the top would take you back to the original screen in less detail. We still have the magnifying glass to display a value list. We have barcode for activities, or this activates the camera as a scanner for that field. And then we have the plus signs for the actuals, and this is how we add actuals to our work order. So this right here is just a brief screenshot of what the application looks like on your device. And now we're going to switch over to the emulator so you can see the actual demonstration. This is the login screen. Now we're going to look at the Maximo applications, the Anywhere applications. And as you know, Maximo Anywhere has a work approval and work execution applications currently. And the first one we're going to look at is work approval here. So let me go ahead and log in. And work approval, of course, is for anybody who would be in a position or in a security group that can approve work, such as maybe the supervisor or engineering department or something like that. So now we see our work approval list. And if I click on the query up here, the approval work list, notice I only have one query that I can use. Pretty simple, right? So now I have my list of work that needs to be approved. As we can see by looking at it, we could go down this list and we can approve and cancel work orders. We can scroll down if we want to and see all the work orders that are in there. Let me go ahead and pull it back to the top. We have several choices as to how we can sort our work. We could sort by the scheduled start, we could sort by the status, or we could sort by the work order number. I'll just leave it as scheduled start. Now we'll go ahead and over here is this little icon for menu. And if I click on this, we'll see the, some other decisions we can make as to, what we want to look at or how we want to look at things within the Anywhere application. The download current work list would be used if we hadn't downloaded our work list at the beginning of the day. Now, as soon as I opened the system, I downloaded it this morning, so I wasn't prompted to do that. But a best practice would be if, as soon as you open your system at the beginning of the day and you're prompted to download the most current work list, do it then so that you're working with the current work list. But if you didn't, and you want to do it later, you can go ahead in here and download the most current work list. We can search. So if I click on the search button here, you'll see now I have different fields that I could search on for my specific work orders that I need to approve. I could search by the work order number. If I wanted to enter part of a description, I could search by that. I could search for a list of work orders in different statuses. Note that when we're in the search application in Anywhere, we're going to get a list back that is not just work orders that need to be approved. It's going to be all work orders that fit the criteria that we're looking for. Now notice down here for the asset and location, I have a couple icons I can use to find specific work. The magnifying glass, of course, just downloads the list of all the assets that are available in the system. Let's cancel that. But now I have this barcode icon. And because I'm working in an emulator, I can't really show you what it does, but I can tell you what it does. By clicking on the barcode scanner, I could turn my camera on my smart device, my tablet or my phone, into a barcode scanner. And then that would allow me, if I use barcodes on my assets or on locations, that would allow me to go out and just scan the asset and populate the field over here to search, rather than having to remember the number or look down the list. So let me click the magnifying glass. I'm going to find this particular asset that I think I want to do some work on, or I know I'm going to be in the location. I'll click on this asset, and I'll click Find. Notice now that we've got our search results here, I have two different queries up here that I can work with. I can work with my original approval work list, or I could work with my list from the search results. I'm going to go back to the approval work list so that we can finish looking at our menu and our selection choices there. We could synchronize data. And synchronize data would be the button you would use if, say, you return to a location with Wi-Fi at lunchtime and you want to send your information from anywhere, from your device. Maybe you've been working offline. Now you want to send that information and update your actual Maximo, but you also want to get any information back from Maximo that's been updated. And that's what this button would be used for. The About button is simply to tell you about your system. If I click on this, you're just going to get information about the version, any other IBM information that's appropriate for this particular license. The Settings tab lets me change my password. Refresh lookup data. Now this is not your work list. This is the data that you need to work with Maximo. It's going to refresh your asset data or location data, anything that can be added to a work list record. And then advanced settings, if I click on this, you'll see this is for tracking and logging data that has to do with your performance. So if you're having performance issues, you would turn these on so that maybe you could troubleshoot an issue. They take a lot of memory. I'm not going to turn them on right now. But we have that capability to track our performance so that we could address any issues. So let's use our little chevrons. By the way, I'll mention now, if you didn't notice, the little chevrons are used to move to the next screen. I can move to the next screen, or I can move back to the previous screen by clicking on the little chevrons, just like in Core Maximo, right? Okay, so now we're back to our approval work list. And let's say we want to work on this first one. We want to approve it or look at it to see whether we want to approve it or not. I could click on the work order. to get more details about this particular work order. I still have the capability here to approve or cancel, but now I can look and see if there's any more details that I might want to see. So we could scroll down and see we have a lead, we have a target start date, we have the work type, and who reported it. You know, just all the typical information that shows up on a work order in Maximo, just in a compressed form here so that it's easier for us to see. So let's go on back up to the top. We could add a lead here if we needed to, using our little magnifying glass to get our list of people. Let's go on back up. Oops. Okay, let's say we're not ready to approve or cancel this because we want to put it in a different status. We want to say it's waiting on materials or such. So I could click on this status field now and put in a new status other than approved, waiting approval, or canceled. So maybe I want to put it in progress, or maybe I want to say it's waiting material. I could go ahead and click that here. Now it's got a status of waiting material. I would save it. Notice my approved button's gone because it's waiting material, and when I go back to my list, this work order now shows up here as waiting on material. Did you catch the little refresh icon pop up here? We could click on that and watch what happens to our 4050. It's gone. So it's no longer in a status of waiting on approval, so it's not on my approval work list anymore. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and approve a work order. So I'll click approve for this 12-month service on the shipping department number 2 conveyor. Click approve. The status changed to approved. And we could just go down our list and start approving work orders if we needed to. If we go out to the work order, notice it's approved. Go back. And that's how easy it is to approve work orders in Maximo. There's my little refresh icon again. Now my 5010 work order is going to disappear. And I would just go down the list and approve them or cancel them or change the status as need be. That is really all there is to approving work orders. Again, if you have questions, feel free to use that hashtag #FreeMaximoAnywhere, and we'll be glad to respond either on the website or as soon as we can get the answer for you. So now we'll move on to work execution. Okay, now we're ready to log into the Maximo Anywhere work execution application. So let me go ahead and log in here. This would be if you're the technician who's going out into the field to do the work and you want to see a list of work that you need to perform. It's downloading the system data for me. Here's that prompt I was talking about in the work approval application. It wants me to download the information now. So I'm going to click now so I have my most recent list of work orders. Me as the lead, I only have 10 available work orders that I need to perform, and this one's actually already in progress. But before we get into the work orders, let's look at what's up on the top bar here. Remember in work approval, I only had one query that I could use. Now I have several, but they all pertain to me as the technician or the person who's going to execute the work. I could select a list where I'm the lead, I could select a list where I'm the owner, or I could select a list of work orders created locally. I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the ones where I'm the lead, so we'll click on that, keep our list here. And we also have a few more icons up here that we can select. The barcode icon in work execution operates the same as it did in work approval. That is, if I click on this, it turns my device camera into a barcode scanner. Okay, the next icon is the new work order, and if I click on the new work order icon,
it will bring up a record for me to create a new work order on the spot here. So I can go ahead and click on that and show you what it looks like. Here I would put in, a work order number, or if I had it set up to auto-populate, it would do that. I would put in my information. I have my capability to scan. So if I'm at an asset, and I know that that asset is what I'm going to be working on, I could just scan it so that it would populate the search field over here, or I could look for a list on my asset list just like I did in work approval. I could populate the location field, and then I would create the work order, and it would go into a waiting on approval status. So it would disappear. It wouldn't show up in my list anymore because I wouldn't be able to work on it until it was approved. Now it would go to the work approval list for the supervisor or the engineer to approve. So let's cancel and go back to our work list. We have the same menu icon here. Now I can look for materials and tools. And this would be all the materials and tools that I need to complete my entire list. So if I click on this tab, it's going to bring up a list. I could go to the storeroom. I could pull out all the tools or materials that I'm going to need for the day and have them with me. Okay, let's go back and look at the menu again. I could download the current work list. We just did that when we opened up the system, but had I not done it at that time, I might want to do it at a different time. I have the same search capabilities that I had in work approval. So if I wanted to go ahead and enter the same asset that I did in my previous example, I could click Find. And now I see all the same work orders that showed up in the work approval regardless of status. So I would only want to find ones that were approved that I could work on, and I could put that information in the field as well. So let's go ahead back to where I'm the lead. Notice I now have an additional work order query here. Let's go back to where I'm the lead. Open our menu icon again. Again, we have the capability to synchronize data. This is two-way synchronization between our device and our Maximo system. So we would have to be in a connected environment here. We have the About tab. We have the same settings tabs that we had in work approval. And log out. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're the lead. Now we can start looking at the work orders, and as I said, I have 10 of them here. I can scroll to see which ones I might want to do. So now let's finally click on a work order and see what that looks like. Note that I have this little clock icon over here, and if I'm a technician and I'm going to perform this work, I could simply click on this little clock, and it changed my status to in progress. Let's look at that again. As soon as I click it again, it just applied my time to the actuals. And since I only have a few seconds, maybe I don't really want that transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this labor transaction. Okay. My status stayed in progress, but just to look at it again, here's another one that's approved. By clicking on the work order, I go to the work order details. I still have my little clock here. I'm going to go ahead and note the status will change from approved to in progress. And my little clock is green. That means I'm a go. I'm doing this work order. I can look at the other information pertaining to this work order. We have our work order number. We have a description. If there's more to this description or a long description, by clicking on the little chevron here, it's going to show me the rest of the description. Now click on my back chevron to go back to my work order details. I have my asset information here. I have my location information. Let's scroll down here to see more. If there's a service address related to it, that'll be populated, as well as scheduled start, work type, priority. Let's keep going down. If it has multiple assets, those would show up here. Here we can look at the list of tasks. So let's click on the chevron to go to the task details. And here we see all of our tasks associated with this work order, and we can complete the work of the tasks individually from or independent of the work order. So I could go ahead and complete 10, 20, 30, and maybe leave the other ones for, when I return from lunch or what have you. Let's go back. That's tasks. We also have our list of all the planned labor and materials and tools. So I have 2 labor assignments, 3 materials. Let's click on the labor assignments and see what we have here. So we need an electrician first class and a mechanic first class. Click on the chevron to see what it says there. And here I could actually enter a labor record. If I hadn't put it in progress and it knows that I'm performing the labor, I could select myself or someone else from the list of labor and go ahead and assign them to this work order. I'm going to cancel that. But I do know that it needs to be an electrician first class. I could also assign a crew here. Okay. It's in a status of waiting to be assigned. It's got my duration and all that information here, just like a work order on the screen in your Maximo system. Just a lot easier to see here and a lot more concise. So I'll go ahead and cancel this. I'm not going to assign anyone. And let's go back. That was our labor assignments. Same with the planned materials. We can go and see the materials that we need. And could click on here. If it's assigned to a specific task, we could put it there. We could make it a direct request if we wanted to. It just gives us the details about the material, what it's called, what the line type is. And same information that we see on the planned materials in our regular Maximo system. So let's go back to the work order. Now that's the planned materials. Now we can get down to the actual materials in labor and tools and start actually applying them to the work order. So if I wanted to look at the actual labor, I could click on here. There is no labor in here, but I could click the plus sign here, or we go back. We could click the plus sign right from here. So we can click the plus sign. It's adding me as the labor. I could put it on a specific task. We didn't need a carpenter. I'm in the system as a carpenter, but I could go ahead and create. And it's asking me, it's giving me the warning that this doesn't match the requirements. Am I sure I want to continue? So I'll say no, because we don't really need a carpenter on here. And click cancel. But here I could add materials. Same way, I could go to the detail and click the plus sign. And now here I can enter the item number. I could scan an item number if I'm in the storeroom and I want to issue it to this work number. I could also scan the storeroom, or I could select from the list of storerooms here. Okay, so let's go ahead and cancel that as well. And the same goes with actuals for tools. If I have specific tools that I need to put on this work order, I could select those as well. The work log, just like it does in Maximo, if I click the plus sign, I could say I wanted to display the client, and now I could type in a note here, the summary, interrupted work. Now I could go down here and add more details if I wanted to. I would click create, and now I have a work log, and the number here increased, letting anybody who goes into this work order details know that I have a work log. Okay, let's go back to our work order. Well, let's go back to the top. Scroll to the top. And now let's say we're done with this. I'm going to go ahead and click this to stop. And now notice that I have a few minutes on here, and I'll go ahead and leave this work time. It says what the duration was. And I can pause work, or I can complete work. I'm going to just go ahead and click complete work. Remember, this is work order 3453. It says it's completed. I'll go back to my work order list. I'm still on the work order details right here. So let's go back to our list. And notice that work order is no longer on my list. Because I've completed it, it's not on my list of work orders that need to be done. So I don't need to see it anymore. I could click on here, say download the current work list. It's going to refresh. It says 10 work orders were saved. So now I only have the ones that are approved or in progress. I no longer have any that are completed or anything like that. Okay, so that is work order execution in a nutshell. We've looked at approval and execution, and again, you can use our hashtag free Maximo Anywhere and send us any questions or comments. And we look forward to the next webinar that we can present for you.
So Projetech does have the capability for you to download a free example or a free trial of Maximo Anywhere. And if you just go to this website, you'll be able to enter your information and download a free trial of Maximo Anywhere. I'll leave this up for a little bit. If anyone wants to use the hashtag to submit comments or questions, feel free. And have a great rest of the day.